I did my presentation on the Mississippi River flood of 1927 by Jensen Barwick. I worked alone. The flood took place in April of 1927 and lasted until September of the same year. High levels of rain caused Mississippi to rise to unseen levels. Yeah, that was due to early melting of snow, which caused rivers to swell in Canada. Heavy rain in the Midwest added to the swelling, and numbers of rainfall in the South was too much for the levee system to handle. And the first levee broke on April 16th, which was the Illinois Shore levee, and the levee system was just continuing to compromise, and the river come over its banks. More than 23,000 miles were submerged. It says the size of the flooding was the size of New England, one of the worst natural disasters in history. 246 were killed, around 700,000 were displaced without clothes, food, or shelter. The damages were estimated at $1 billion. The floods devastated Arkansas, Illinois, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. African Americans were treated unfairly during the flooding, and some were left stranded. Whites were treated more fairly and were the priority over African Americans. The camps were segregated, and disease was a big issue in the camps. African Americans were held at gunpoint and forced to work on and fix the levees, and they were also forced to return to their farms. African Americans, if they got the chance, they fled north to cities to work in factories and left the farms they had been working on. And they also changed their political views from Republican to Democratic. Farmers lost all of their crops. Arkansas lost twice as much farmland than Louisiana and Mississippi combined. The next planting season was missed due to the water still being present in September of the next year. Also, a drought happened 3 years later, which also took a toll on the farmers. The government was criticized for the response to the disaster. It was the first time the National Guard was organized and sent by the government to help. New deal programs were put in place by the next administration to help the government better respond to tragedies like this. And these are my sources.